He may not be Spider-Man's strongest villain, he may not be Spider-Man's smartest villain, he may not even be Spider-Man's oldest villain, yet for many fans, Venom is Spider-Man's most famous villain. Transforming from a simple costume into a manic monster is no small feat, and the Venom symbiote has always required a like-minded host, meaning Venom's identity has spanned a whole roster of human suitors. And with Tom Hardy being its next victim at some point in 2018, if Sony Pictures head Amy Pascal can decide what the film is going to be, I'm Ben from What Culture, and here are 10 insane facts you didn't know about Venom. Number 10. The first Venom became a superhero named Toxin. Eddie Brock, the first and most famous Venom, incidentally hasn't been Venom for some time. Although he no longer sports the black suit after being forcibly bonded to another symbiote, he unwillingly became the creature known as Toxin. In taking over this new symbiote from his dead host, Brock became an actual ally to Spider-Man, and considering both Brock's past and the Toxin symbiote's physical ties to Carnage, this is an incredible growth for the character and testament to how anyone can change if they put their mind to it, even your dad. Number 9. His sound was created by Hank Azaria. The classic 1994 Spider-Man the Animated Series remains to this day one of the more enjoyable adaptations of the Wall Crawler. Part of the series' appeal was its introduction of many characters familiar to the comics but new to television, one of whom was Venom. As this was the character's first speaking debut, it meant that the actor playing him would be burdened with creating and characterizing Venom's speech patterns for the first time, but thankfully the actor tasked with this role was voice acting veteran Hank Azaria, also known as the voice of The Simpsons, Moe and Apu. Number 8. A supervillain saved him from cancer. After an extended disappearance, Eddie Brock re-emerged with cancer. Hospitalized, the irony was that the only thing keeping him alive was the same symbiote he had long tried to rid himself of. While recovering from a suicide attempt, Martin Lee gave Brock a job at a soup kitchen upon discovering who he was. Unbeknownst to Brock, however, Lee was actually Mr. Negative, a crime boss with dark electrical powers. Miraculously, through some sort of biological shock or something, when Lee touched Brock for the first time, he inexplicably cured his cancer and, turned him into Anti-Venom, a white beast who wants to cure all symbiotes and superhumans, including Spider-Man, of their infections. Like, you can't win it all, I suppose. Number 7. He would have been the villain of The Amazing Spider-Man 3. Before The Amazing Spider-Man 2's failure, there were plenty of larger plans for Venom in the extended Amazing Spider-Man universe. First off, he was meant to star in a terribly ill-advised solo outing from Alex Kurtzman. Then, there was the Drew Goddard-abandoned Sinister Six, in which he was rumored to be a supporting player. Eddie Brock had been established through viral marketing as a writer for the Daily Bugle, after all, and the symbiote was clearly shown gestating beneath Oscorp. These are all undeniable signs pointing towards Venom's planned inclusion in the series. Number 6. The suit is powered by hatred of Spider-Man. Part of Venom's appeal is that his alien suit offers him a whole host of powers. Beyond that, however, there are factors within him that can augment the power to gargantuan proportions or diminish it entirely. One of these main components is hatred for Spider-Man, something the symbiote feels after having been rejected by him. Conversely, when Spider-Man first fought Mark Gargan, the former Scorpion turned Venom, he defeated him handily. This could speak to his inexperience with the suit, but Spider-Man surmises something different. He thinks that Venom wasn't as strong in this instance because Gargan didn't hate Spider-Man as much as Brock did. Number 5. He replaced Vulture in Spider-Man 3. It was always director Sam Raimi's intention to make the secondary villain of Spider-Man 3 the Vulture and not Venom. Citing what he perceived as the fans' wishes, it was higher-ups who forced Raimi to use Venom instead. He apparently hated Venom from the outset, never being able to connect with his lack of humanity. He evidently saw no appeal in a darker Spider-Man, and that really came across on screen, and now we can only ponder what Raimi's original vision entailed. Number 4. He was a guardian of the galaxy. Amidst all of Marvel's character revamping and roster shuffling in recent years, one wearer of the Venom suit was Peter Parker's former bully and wounded soldier, Flash Thompson. Under the name Agent Venom, he used the suit in small doses as a means to complete government missions while resisting its villainous inclinations. This new variation of the character was designed for a new generation of readers who never knew Venom as a villain. Instead, they see Flash as a hero with an awesome costume that lets him do cool stuff. In order to further establish this more youthful and heroic tone, he was also added to the Guardians of the Galaxy, ostensibly to act as a liaison between them and the Avengers. Number 3. The Spider-Man 3 version was based on jungle cats and drug addicts. From a visual standpoint, the animators from Sony Pictures Imageworks used jungle cats like tigers, cheetahs, and panthers as models for Venom's movements. It was an undeniably creative way to add a beast-like nature to the creature and make him come across as a monster. On the other side of things, the horrifically miscast Topher Grace said that he based his performance on drug addicts and alcoholics. This should have worked, since Brock has often been depicted like an addict craving the symbiote, but while Grace had the right ideas in mind, there were clearly far too many factors working against him for it to ever work. Number 2. Venom was originally going to be a woman. A pregnant woman's life takes a dark turn when she witnesses her husband die after being hit by a distracted taxi driver who had been watching Spider-Man. The woman would, in a matter of minutes, lose her husband, her baby, and her sanity. This nameless woman would subsequently focus all that hatred towards Spider-Man, whom she held responsible. This was going to be the original Venom. Unfortunately, Marvel bigwigs didn't think that she'd be a credible threat, so it wasn't until years later that Eddie's ex-wife Anne finally became the first female host. Number 1. A fan created him and sold the idea for $220. You fool! You won't see him credited, but Randy Schuler, a comic book fan from Illinois, was the first one who came up with the idea for Venom. Specifically, it was an idea for a Spider-Man with a black costume made up of unstable molecules that enhanced his power. Upon hearing of this pitch, Jim Shooter, the editor-in-chief at the time, sent him a letter of interest and promptly bought the pitch for just $220. You fool! From there, multiple creators have helped perfect the character we know and love. Mike Zeck modified the idea of the unstable costume into that of a symbiote, while writer David McKelney would write his backstory. Even John Byrne had an impact, suggesting that Venom's costume ought itself to be alive. He sold it for $220. You fool! And that's our list. Make sure you subscribe to the What Culture Comics YouTube channel for more lists like this, and don't forget to visit whatculture.com for daily news and articles. I'm Ben from What Culture, and thanks for watching.